injecting a green tomato with some red dye to make it more pretty. So the first part of your notes is a transgenic organism, and that's going to be an organism that has been genetically altered in some way. So the first example we have is going to be medical. So people with diabetes have to take insulin. So what is insulin? Insulin is a protein that helps glucose move our bloodstream to our cells. Helps glucose move from our bloodstream to our cells. And we get glucose from the food that we eat. So without insulin, glucose doesn't get to where it needs to go, and it hangs out in the bloodstream, which causes spikes in blood sugar. So that's why people with diabetes have to constantly check their blood sugar levels. So insulin is produced in the pancreas, this weird little organ right there that hangs out by the stomach. And type 1 diabetes is going to be when the pancreas doesn't produce enough insulin, or it doesn't produce insulin at all. So like I said earlier, with no insulin, this glucose gets stuck in your bloodstream. So a little bit about diabetes. You see this person getting their finger pricked, and they have to do that multiple times a day, and they have to inject themselves with these syringes full of insulin. So how does someone get insulin? They take shots, usually self-administered. So a little background about insulin production. In the 70s, we used animals, slaughtered animals, and purified their insulin from their pancreases and used it for humans. So we would kill these poor pigs and cows and whatever and remove the insulin from their pancreas and then purify it for human use. Yes?
What did humans use it for?
What do humans use insulin for?
Yeah. Sorry. I'm sorry. Josh.
She just told us.
That's what
You
we're talking
guys
about.
got this? In the 80s, we started taking the genes that makes insulin in humans and inserting them into E. coli bacteria and producing synthetic human insulin. So we're not slaughtering animals anymore, we're genetically engineering insulin. Don't feel like you have to write all of it, just know that we're using E. coli. So this says example number 3, but I think it's just right below the insulin production. So GMOs are going to be genetically modified foods, organisms. So what are they? They're organisms whose genetic material has been altered using genetic engineering techniques. So basically the same thing as transgenic organisms. So why do we modify these organisms? We modify them to be more resistant to things like pests and diseases and cold and drought and salt. It also produces an overall better quality product. I don't know if you guys have space to write this, but we just jot down a few of these. So the first example of a GMO is going to be golden rice. nutrition is really common in third world countries, and most of these countries rely on rice as the main staple in their diet. But the problem is that rice doesn't provide all the necessary micronutrients you need to be completely nourished. So we started genetically modifying rice to produce golden rice. Really sad picture there. So vitamin A is one of these nutrients that rice is lacking. And so deficiencies in vitamin A is horrible to your immune system, and it can decrease your body's ability to fight infection, and can also lead to partial or total blindness. So golden rice is just genetically engineered to contain beta-carotene, which provides vitamin A to these people in these countries. Next example is going to be tomato and Arctic flounder. So basically, tomato plants freeze when it gets really cold, and it destroys over half the crops sometimes. And so scientists injected a gene from the Arctic flounder that makes them able to withstand cold temperatures into tomatoes. And there's a little clip about this.
Yeah, I didn't load it up for you, so you can just double click on that. There you go. Oh, I guess I did.
So do you know what genetically modified foods are?
Like tomatoes and things they do, like to make them last longer when they ship them and stuff.
Right.
Bettered or improved by collecting the best of and keep going.
Thank you.
I've heard of them, yeah, I don't know how big of a fan I am, but.
Right.
Yeah, I don't really know if it's good or bad.
You know, we've been eating these foods for the last 10 years.
No, I haven't known that.
Well,
Where do they normally sell those kind of foods?
I'm kind of taken back by it. I thought it was just grown in soil and I didn't know they were modifying the food.
I know.
It's kind of scary.
Well, I know it's been a while, I'm not.
Well, the simplest way to put it is that scientists had an idea to make crops more resilient to external factors. So let's say you grow tomatoes, and at night it gets so cold that by morning half your tomatoes are frozen, and now you can't sell them anymore. This is what scientists were able to change the genetic modification. They figured out a way to take DNA from one organism and put it inside a completely different organism to create a desired and specific outcome. For example, let's go back to the tomato scenario. Scientists recognized that Arctic flounder, yes, that's the fish, could withstand extremely cold temperatures. They thought, what if we took the DNA trait that allows the flounder to withstand the cold and put it inside the tomato DNA, so that the tomato could withstand the same temperatures? Now you've just narrowed your chances of your tomatoes becoming frozen. This idea that you can now get 100% crop yield was the original guiding principle for genetic modification. Our friends at Lily Films have a documentary called
Thank you.
So this is just a creepy picture of these little zombie children that are eating aspartame, MSG-filled foods. I don't really like that picture. But see, these are some foods to avoid, because 5% of zucchini has been genetically modified, and almost 90% of corn has been genetically modified in some way. And this is a huge list of companies that do not genetically modify foods to be labeled, because they're making lots of money off of them, obviously. And if you're losing half your crops due to cold, like with the tomato example, then you're going to be losing money. Yes. And I think this is interesting, because when you go to the supermarket, there's all these little stickers on your food, and I don't really know what they mean, but now you do. So if it starts with an 8 and it's 5 digits, that means it's been genetically modified in some way. If it has only 4 digits, like the banana, you always see has 4011, that means it's conventionally grown. And the best type of food you can get is the organic ones, so that's a 5-digit code starting with 9. Sorry?
What is conventionally correct?
I mean, it hasn't been genetically modified in any way. So other types of genetic engineering is going to be glowing organisms, and we don't really know why we're messing with these organisms to make them glow, other which organisms naturally glow? Anyone think it's an example?
Jellyfish?
Yes. Anything else? Yes, lightning bugs? Yep. So there's your lightning bug. There's your jellyfish. So, but we can make other organisms glow using the genes that make those organisms glow and by injecting them into other things. So here's a tobacco plant that is been modified to glow. And